This video is a slow one. It's a slow one. I woke up from a nap like an hour ago. It's currently 12 p.m. at night. It's Tuesday, July 1st. You're probably like, why'd you take a nap basically half the day? Like, that's kind of stupid. What'd you do? Did you do anything productive? Okay, before you start laying on me, I went to the DMV. And you know what? Going to the DMV is a whole fucking process. Like, you gotta set aside a whole fucking day to go to the DMV because you're gonna be all day. You're gonna be there all day. And I was. My day started off at 5 in the morning. My day started at 5 in the morning. I got ready. I went to the DMV. I got there at like 5:30. Tell me why there were already like 6 people in front of me. What time did y'all get here? Point is, they open at 7 o'clock, so I waited outside with my aunt for an hour and a half. Well, mind you, I had already been to the DMV last Tuesday. And last Tuesday, I didn't have any type of problem with my paperwork. Like, the lady came through and checked my paperwork, and she was like, okay, you're all good. You can go get checked in. But this time, it was the exact same lady that checked me in last week. She looked at my insurance, and she was like, no, this isn't the right type of paperwork. You need to go back and get the right kind. I'm sorry, what? What do you mean? So that made my sitting out there for an hour and a half completely pointless, because then I had to go get that printed out and come back. That should piss me off, I'm not gonna lie, because you would think like, okay, that's your fault, you should have known that. But it was the exact same lady. And last week she was like, yeah, the paperwork's good, but now all of a sudden you want to switch up on me. Okay, fine, be like that. So I leave the line and I'm like trying to look for a place to go get this paper printed out because I don't have a printer. I don't own a printer. Well, I end up going to WALGREENS because they're the only place open that I can get my stuff printed at. That becomes an entire process. And I have a bone to pick with WALGREENS. I have a giant bone to pick with WALGREENS and one specific employee. Tell me why I get there. There's only one employee in there because they just opened. So I go over to where you like make the copies, and it's like, oh, like press this button for assistance. So I press it, some lady comes over and I'm like, hey, like I'm trying to get something printed off my phone, like can I do that? And she was like, yeah, you can do that. So she hands me a cord and she's like, she turns me around to this like touch screen. She's like, you can just use this, connect it to your phone and it's print out. And then she leaves. She doesn't like come over and show me. Which I was like, oh, okay, I gotta figure this out on my own. So I spend like 5 minutes trying to figure it out. And eventually I get something printed. The only problem is it was literally printed, ignore that. It was printed like this size, and it was like a laminated photo. Like, you know, when you're like getting photos for a photo album, it was laminated like that. And I when she printed it out, I was like, oh, like that's not what I wanted. Because like, okay, my mistake. That was me completely. But I was like, okay, that's not what I wanted. Like, can you just help me like get it on a piece of paper, like just a sheet of paper? And she was like, yeah. She hands me back the cord and she's like, you have to turn it into a PDF, and leaves. She just walks away. And I'm like, oh, you're leaving me on my own again. Okay. So I'm like, okay, turn it into a PDF. I don't know how to do that. Like, okay, you're probably like, oh my gosh, that's like so fucking easy. Not for me. I'm not very technologically advanced. So I'm like, I'm messing around with like the little touch screen trying to find where I can do it. And I'm like Googling how to turn a photo into a PDF. And I'm literally downloading a fucking app, like a converter that made me subscribe to it, like a subscription to convert it to a PDF. But every single time I try to download it to my files and turn it into a PDF, it would show on the touchscreen like, oh, we couldn't find any documents. Okay. At this point, it's already been like 10 minutes since the lady left me. So I'm like calling her over. I'm like, hey, like, how do I do this? She's like, you need to turn it to a PDF. And then she comes over and like puts the touchscreen on like a professional printing setting, but then leaves me alone. Because even on the professional printing setting, there's like still 5 other options. And she just leaves. And I'm like, if I'm asking you for help, I obviously don't know what I'm doing. And like, man, I'm already fucking stressed. I'm already like, oh shit, like I gotta get back to DMV. Like the line is already like lining up. And by the time I get there, what if they're like maxed out for the day? And then I start freaking out because this lady's not helping me. I ask her again and she does the same thing. She's like, turn it to a PDF and then walks away. Like, dude, you're not helping me. You're not helping me, bro. Please. So I get all pissed off and I start freaking out, like I'm about to start crying. So I call my aunt. I'm like, hey, like, can you please come inside? Because she was outside in the car waiting in the parking lot. Because I thought this was gonna be just like a quick process. But I'm like, hey, can you come inside and help me? Because this lady is not helping me at all. My aunt comes in, and that's when I noticed 2 other employees. I guess they clocked in, like they started working. So my aunt spots another employee, and she's like, hey, can you come help us print this out? Bless this lady's heart, because she walks over and she's like, yeah, like, what can I help you out with? And we're like, oh, we're trying to get like something printed off my phone onto a sheet of paper. And she's like, oh yeah, sure, totally, I can help you. And she does a completely different thing than what that lady was telling me to do. And like, she was just like, oh, is this what you want? And I was like, yeah, like, that's what I want. And she just does it in like 2 minutes. At that point, I was like already standing there for like 20 fucking minutes trying to figure it out myself. And you're telling me this lady does it in 2? I kept asking this other fucking old lady to help me out, and all she kept saying was turn this to a PDF. Turns out, I didn't even need to turn it into a PDF. What was all that for? Please, what was all that for? Like, you couldn't have done what that lady just did. Please. Well, I get printed out, and she's like, oh, like, did you pay for the first one, like the faulty one? And I was like, no, I haven't paid for it. She was like, okay, I'll just void it out for you. Thank you so much. It turns out she's my neighbor across the street, because she was like, yeah, ignore the buzzing. Sorry. We're muting my phone. Turns out she's my neighbor across the street because she recognized the car. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that, but okay. And I believe her because she looks like her daughter. Her daughter and I went to the same high school, and they look almost identical. So I mean, yeah, checks out. But anyways, after that, go back to the DMV. I had to get back in the back of the line when it's already starting to like wrap around the building. I mean, it's not like wrapped around completely, but it's like beginning to, you know, get to that point. So all that time standing from 5:30 in the morning to 7 in the morning, completely useless. Like, wasted my time there because I had to get back in the back of the line. Eventually, after an hour, I get checked in, but being checked in doesn't mean you're waiting in the lobby. No. I had 32 people in front of me. So I had to wait in the car for an hour and a half. And me and my aunt, we were just like chilling. A portion of it, she was asleep. A portion of it, we went to go get food across the street from McDonald's. We were just, and we were driving my mom's car. My mom's car doesn't have AC. It's 80 degrees. We were just sweating balls. It was hot. It was bad. But eventually, thank the Lord, because I got called in. They're like, yeah, you can go ahead and come inside and wait. Another hour goes by, and I get started. And this man, he calls me up and he's like, what are you trying to do? And I'm like, I'm trying to get my license. He's like, okay, let me see all your paperwork. I get all that figured out, and he's like, okay, you can go take your test. I was shitting my fucking pants. I was shitting my pants so fucking hard because last week I failed. So I was like, I can't fuck this up. But you'll never believe what. I passed that shit with 100%. 0 questions wrong. Mind you, the entire week my mom was like, are you studying? Are you studying? Are you studying? And I kept saying, yes, I am studying, when I was in fact lying. I didn't study until like last night, and I stayed up till like 2 in the morning studying. And I was studying the handbook and doing like practice tests online the entire morning. But I finish up my driving test. He's helping somebody else, so I go back to sit down, and then eventually he calls me up again. He's like, okay, you passed, so let's go get you on the road. Okay, I was feeling pretty confident about my driving, and I still do. I'm still like pretty confident about my driving. He just made my life fucking difficult. He's being picky. My instructor was being picky. And let me explain why. Because tell me why. We get out to the car, and he's like, okay, he does like the general stuff, like, oh, turn your hazard lights on, your left and right turn signal, all the outside stuff. I make sure to buckle up before even turning on the car. He gets inside. He's already huffing and puffing. He's already like struggling to get in the fucking car. He's like, and you know what? I'll give him some, like, I'll hand it to him. It was the hardest shit outside. It was bad. We get onto the road. No, actually, we don't even, first I have to back up. And mind you, they expect you to fucking like turn your entire body around and look back. But I didn't do that. I forgot. I just like, I looked in the rear view. I glanced. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not doing all that when there's nobody there's nobody in this parking lot. All the cars are parked. The only car that was like moving, which was parked just on, was like all the way in the corner of the parking lot. So I didn't feel the need to be like that because there were no moving vehicles. But I guess that's what he expected me to do. And he got on me about it. He was like, you didn't turn around. Okay, sorry. I was screwed just for the moment I got out the parking lot. Well, we drive out to this like in progress neighborhood where they're still like building houses, and he's like, okay, like do your 3-point turn, like go backwards, go forward, stop when I tell you to stop. We do all that shit. He gets on me about me not using my mirrors, and by me not using my mirrors, he means me not physically turning my head. Because not once did I ever like, because there were like a few cars, not once did I ever get like to the point where I was like, oh my god, I hit this fucking car. No, he just wanted me to turn my fucking head. And there was like one stop sign from where we were. I stopped, but I guess I didn't stop for a sufficient amount of time. But he didn't say anything throughout the driving test, which was to be expected. We eventually got back to the DMV, and this entire time he's not saying anything. I'm walking inside. He's taking his sweet old time walking inside, and he sits down at the chair, and he just starts rustling through paperwork for a good minute. Not a word. I'm just waiting there, like, waiting for him to tell me if I passed or not. Like, I had the hope in my eyes that I passed. And then he pulls out a comment sheet, and he's like, unfortunately, I can't pass you. Why? And you wanna know why? You wanna know why? All because I didn't check my mirrors. He was like, yeah, you have to turn around. Like, you have to physically turn around and check the back. And you didn't stop at the stop sign long enough. That's quite literally the only reason he failed me. And he, you know what? He rubbed the salt into my little wound because he was like, you're a good driver, but I just can't pass you. You didn't look. Yes, I did. And he was like, yeah, like, I understand that you look through the mirror, but like, you have to turn around. I should have known. I should have known from the very start that the DMV was gonna be picky. Like, I should have just already known that. But for some reason, like, I was completely out of it. Not like out of it, like, oh, I can't drive, but like out of it, and like, I wasn't being like extra, you know, pretentious about driving. But yeah, that's the reason I failed my driving test, because I didn't turn around to look, and because I didn't stop at the stop sign long enough. Okay. So take this as my little cautionary tale. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Also, you know what? I hope they retake my picture next week, because, I mean, it's not terrible. My picture from last week was terrible. I mean, I could technically live with myself if it was the picture from this week, but I hope they retake it so I can actually get ready this time and I don't look like shit. Anyways, that was my cautionary tale about the DMV and about Walgreens. Fuck you, Walgreens. Actually, fuck that one employee, and thank you to that other employee that helped me out. Anyways, that was my tale. I didn't film an outro. This is my outro. This is me saying thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone that has subscribed. I'm at 22 right now. I know when I was at 12, I said I would have thought of something for the one thing for one person, one subscriber. I haven't thought about anything. Maybe when we get to 25, I'll have something thought out of. Point is, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for hearing my little rant about the DMV and Walgreens. I don't know when the next time I'll post a video is. I don't know the next time I'll post a cover is. I was working on a cover the other day, but I didn't like how it turned out and it ended up deleted. I'll probably do the same song again. Nobody watched it, so I don't have to worry about it. Point is, thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. See ya!